Hello, this is Usha speaking. Hi, today the video I'm going to talk about colors. Because of course, if you're a psychic reader, if you're reading aura and chakras, it's all about colors. A lot of it is about colors anyway. And yeah, but colors, they play a big part in our lives anyway. So I don't know, some people are more sensitive to colors than others. It's all about visual analysis, and but if you're sensitive to colors and you want to know more about their meaning, it's really important to differentiate between colors that have a cultural meaning and colors that have a personal meaning for you, and colors that might have a universal meaning. So, for example, a cultural color, for example, the color white. In the West, this is a color of purity, right? Of the white dove, of peace and, clarity. But for example, in my fatherland in India, when people are in mourning, they wear white. So this is a very different meaning. And so they're different, and then there's so this is like a cultural meaning. So it's very good to be aware of cultural meanings of colors, because it's just to discern, what is my personal preference, what is my cultural, connotation I have with this color, and what do I actually observe, because we of course, we need to, when we want to discover the meaning of things, we need to go beyond all these notions we have, to find deeper truths, because they're all colored. You need to take off all these glasses, right? And so to come closer and closer to absolute truth. And so, for example, there are personal colors. I know ladies who don't like red. They don't like the color of red. Maybe it has to do with, not allowing themselves to be angry or to feel very attractive, or maybe they don't want to draw attention to themselves, or, there are various interpretations of why a person wouldn't like red. There are these personal preferences and judgments we have about colors, right? But so today, having said this, I think there are some general meanings you can attribute to colors. I call them universal meanings. And one interesting one is actually not a color. It's devoid of color, and the meaning I ascribe to that color, non-color, is actually also has to do with being devoid of color. It's the color of white. I'll just call it a color because it's kind of tiresome to keep saying it's not a color. So the color of white is not really one color, right? It sort of carries all colors, but in my experience, if I see the color of white in a person's aura, this means new beginnings. And this is, of course, a very broad meaning. New beginnings can mean that a person is pregnant, for example, that there is new life forming in the womb of that person. And if that's the case, then usually the color of soft pink, baby pink, will be present. So this is purely the sort of, you could say, like the spiritual beginning, right? So it's new beginnings. And it can also mean that someone is leaving the physical realm and moving into the next, moving into non-physical realm. So you could call that dying, right? So if someone's in the process of dying, all personal themes, personal colors, they have dissolved. And so the aura of the person becomes more and more white. So you can see this with people who are very ill, who are very old, maybe in their last phase of life. And our sun, eldest son, he nearly passed away when he was a baby, and he was being operated on. He was very, very ill when he was a baby, and yeah, this was very frightening for me, because when I was tuning into him, you know, when I was looking at his aura, you know, from a distance, I could only see white, and I knew what that meant. You know, I could see that. I mean, of course, he had just arrived on Earth, on the Earth plane, so to speak. So, you know, having the aura not really filled in with a lot of color yet was a natural thing. But I also knew that this meant that he was very far away. He was in, it was not strictly speaking a coma, but it was like that. So this is my experience, the experience I have with the color of white when you see this in an aura. And so you know, if you know things or you observe things, this always comes with responsibility, right? So you got to decide what to say to the other person, or how to say it, or, you know, maybe someone's pregnant, is not aware of it, maybe someone has a disease, or, you know, you got to be very careful with these things. But yeah, I'm just telling you my perspective, you know, the experience I have with the color of white. And yeah, it's all very logical in a way, isn't it? I mean, the color of white, yeah, it can be filled in. So it's new beginnings. So maybe it's interesting to see in your life. Maybe you have this phase where you just want to wear white all the time, you know. Yeah, so this is very interesting to do color analysis in your life, you know, energetically, but also just in the physical. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye bye.